Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your beer.
Follow the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff?
The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How was that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I just like to kiss. Is there something wrong with that?
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad pipes routine.
How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my neck.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
Zoe Williams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
Greetings and welcome, my friends. I'm thrilled to have Mark Wolin with us today to explore breaking the cycle of inherited trauma. By the end of this session, you'll have a greater understanding of how trauma is passed from one generation to the next, the scientific research behind inherited family trauma, the signs and symptoms of inherited trauma, and how to break the cycle. He will also lead us through a powerful practice called integrating our fragmented selves. Mark Wolin is the director of the Family Constellation Institute in San Francisco and is a leading expert in the field of inherited family trauma. He lectures at hospitals, clinics, conferences, universities, and teaching centers around the world. A very grateful welcome, Mark. I'm so happy to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me, Jeffrey. I'm happy to be here.
Our pleasure.
So I'm here to talk with you today about the unexplained symptoms that we inherit, the fears, the anxieties, the obsessive thoughts that we've biologically inherited from our parents and grandparents, symptoms we think are ours. But before I do that, I'd like to share the story of a 16-year-old boy with a rare neurological disorder. When he was 10 years old, he began experiencing intense burning sensations on his skin, and the doctors couldn't figure out why this was happening. They couldn't find any root cause. When I spoke to his mother, she told me about a trauma his father experienced when he was 10. The father was playing with matches and accidentally set the garage on fire and burned the house down. The father's brother died in the fire, and the father never forgave himself. And because the trauma remained unhealed and unresolved, the man's son expressed symptoms, burning sensations on his skin at the same age. The family never made the connection. And then after working together, the boy's symptoms subsided. So his story is not unlike many of the stories we carry. The suffering of the past was living in the present. The latest research tells
Black America. That ain't your relation. This isn't describing us. The hell we've been through in America. When you get on Instagram and people talking about cheesecake ain't good enough. And people talk about if you gonna buy your son some food, buy the other kids some food. And yes, it's all made up, but it's all made up off of real ratchetness that we go through. Our dysfunction, our brokenness. You trying to tell me everything we've been... Listen, man, do you know a little something about American history? Can you imagine the schizophrenia of the founding fathers to think that they are human beings while Africans are not? To think that they're in alignment with the highest principles of God while raping property? You see the way I wrote that? Where I spoke that? Huh? Somebody meme it. They raped their property, male and female. You are not a human being, but I'm attracted to you. Well, at the same time, you do not have the intellectual capacity. I'm your father. Look up paternalism. The founding fathers had a paternalistic feeling of themselves. You know, the slave can't do anything without us. So you telling me generationally that's not coming through into our relationships? Everything about your success is co-signed by him. And he's a monster. He's an abject demon. What is that going to make you in your relationships for the most part? I know y'all don't want to hear it like this tonight, but I got to give it to you. There's a book I want you guys to get, and I've mentioned it before. The Body Remembers. The Psychophysiology of Trauma and Trauma Treatment by Babette Rothschild. The symptomatology of PTSD, right? In PTSD, a traumatic event is not remembered and regulated to one's past in the same way as other life events. Trauma continues to intrude with visual, auditory, and or other somatic realities on the lives of its victims. Again and again, they relive the life-threatening experiences they suffered, reacting in mind and body as though such events were still occurring. PTSD is a complex psychobiological condition. Babette Rothschild, The Body Remembers. So now, your family is doing okay. We got a little money. We went to college. We living all right. You think that you're out of the spiritual woods, so to speak. Say your mother or your father has some kind of gift. But like I said before, nobody comes into this life with a clean slate. Sometimes the ones who come into our lives with gifts come into our lives with curses as profound as the gifts they may have. And if you were raised by one of those people, you think their curse as well as their gift didn't kiss your soul in its formative years? It didn't start with you, but it certainly can end with you. We got callers on the line. Let's get them in here. Mary from Chattanooga, talk to me. Mary, you're on the line. Talk to me. Chat Town in the house. Talk to me, Chat.
Like I said, my perspective is from the Christian perspective, and
it's all good.
Like I said, I don't see it as just trauma or negativity. I see it as sin. The Lord said the iniquities of the fathers will be visited upon the sons and the daughters. Okay, so how does that reflect in a family? Okay, you have several generations of family doing this, doing the same sin, doing the same thing. So let's just say single motherhood. You have that, and it becomes normalized. It becomes normalized. So you don't see it as wrong, so you don't seek anything better than that. You just say, okay, well, mama and big mama, and we all did that, so it's fine. and it just continues to become a vein, a root in that family. You know what I'm saying? Until you can't change what you do not acknowledge. So first you have to, to say, okay, this is not right. Children need a father. The first step to breaking up any society is to break up the nuclear family. That's the first step. You take fathers out, and it will crumble. Fathers are extremely important to families. Extremely important. So you take fathers out, and that's the beginning to crumble any society.
I love it, Mary. You cooking? What you want me to say? I can't disagree with anything you said. You got some more?
Because what is the root cause of most of the problems in the black community? Okay, you have single mothers. Why do you have single mothers? Because these girls were not getting the attention and the love they needed from their father, so they went out to go get it from another source. You know what I'm saying? Another source that wasn't looking out for their best interest. Another source that was looking to use them. And so next thing you know, they're stuck and they got a baby and they just have to make do. What's another one? Some of our young going to prison. They're normalizing that, it's okay to go to prison. It's okay. You'll go on Facebook and you'll see people like, okay, well, for jobs. Well, is it okay if I have a felony? Okay, you're 20. Why do you have a felony at that age? Why that young? Why? Because it was normalized. It was normalized because Uncle, he went to jail, and then why? Because again, you take fathers out of a home and it starts to crumble. You know what I'm saying? Why were fathers being taken out of the home, the nuclear family being destroyed? Something really unpopular people don't like to hear. I'll say it as a woman. Feminism. In the 1960s, when that started to come into our families, women were starting to latch onto that. Oh, well, I don't need a man. No. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Children need a father. They need that guidance. They need that stability. They need that. But no, we've gotten to a point where we're okay. Well, I'm okay on my own. And no. Just because you're having to make it on your own does not mean you're okay. It does not mean that your children are going to be able to make it. My grandmother had a saying. She said, if you sit around poop long enough, it'll stop smelling.
Ooh.
That is what has happened. That is what has happened. We have normalized things so long, and will refuse to touch on it because it's like touching a sore tooth. Oh, well, that hurts. That hurts. No. We need to address it and bring it out. What is done in the dark needs to be brought to the light. Okay, I had all that in my family. I broke out. How did I do such? How did I do that? Okay, I stayed a virgin until I was 27 when I met my husband. And even once I met him, we did not have sex until we were married. So my children have a father. I only have children by one man. Okay, my husband is the head of our household. Okay, does that make him more than me? No, we just have different roles. But my husband is the head of our household. He has the final say in our household. Does he talk to me? Am I one of his counselors? Yes, he talks to me. He gathers my opinion, but he has the final say in our household. If he tells me no on something, then I close my mouth and then, yes, sir. Because that is how God designed it. That's how it was supposed to be. He is supposed to lead. He is supposed to be the covering. That is what is missing. That is what is missing in our community. That's what's missing. If my children backtalk me, I have a teenager. She backtalked me. My husband stood up and said, "You don't talk to not your mother. You don't talk to my wife like that. You apologize to your mother and you take your little narrow butt in the room. You've lost your phone and any other privileges you might have. You need that. You need fathers. You need we have so many missing holes in our community that need to be filled, and we keep dancing around it instead of addressing them because they hurt."
Well, let me just say this, Mary. Do you know what you just did? Do you?
Just spoke truth.
You brought Chattanooga, Tennessee in the building. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. Do you agree with her stance? Do you disagree? I want to hear your opinions. Non-judgmental platform. What do you have to say about what Mary just said?
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580. Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
This open enrollment season, LA Care Covered is offering health plans starting at $0 a month. Each plan provides benefits including $0 preventive services, 24/7 telehealth services, around-the-clock nurse advice lines, walk-in minute clinics, and more. Shop and compare premium silver plans with $0 deductibles to help meet your health goals. Ready to shop? Visit us online at lacarecovered.org for a commitment-free instant quote or speak with us directly at 855-222-4239. LA Care Covered, your affordable path to wellness.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look. And unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So, let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California, once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at a gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event. Or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
You want some more? It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
In Biology of Belief, Dr. Bruce Lipton, PhD, outlines a new understanding of life based on his pioneering research with stem cells at Stanford University. In his book, Dr. Lipton proclaims that genes do not control biology and that cellular perceptions of the environment are the primary factor in biological processes. Proteins are the stuff of life, the physical gears that orchestrate the movements of biology. There are estimated to be about 100,000 different kinds of proteins in the human body. Today, medical students and practitioners are still operating under the assumption that genes, the blueprints that proteins are made from, are the primary factor in biological processes. When James Watson and Francis Crick first visualized the molecular structure of DNA in 1953, the scientific community believed they had found the ultimate secret to life. The widely accepted understanding is that genetic information stored within the DNA is enough to explain all of molecular biology and heredity, and is the reason why living organisms look and behave how they do, in sickness and in health. The old scientific paradigm espoused that inert genes were the brain of the cell, directing and controlling which proteins become expressed in every cell, and that we are essentially all just victims of heredity. After doing experiments with enucleation, a process where the genes are removed from the cell.
Victims of heredity. But there's a way out. You can rewrite the gene. This is what Bruce Lipton worked on. Get his book, Biology of Belief, by Bruce Lipton. He talks about epigenetics, which is the Greek word epi, above the gene. Right? You can rewrite what you modeled. You can rewrite it. That's why in my book, The Shrouded Lighthouse, I think it's chapter 14, the chapter is on self-authorship. Yes, your parents did the best they could with what they had. You understand me? The best they could with what they had. But you want to be a grown-up, you got to break up from what they couldn't overcome. You got to break up with that because you carry it in you. Oh, goodness. 1-800-920-1580. We got callers all on the line. I want to get everybody in here. Let's move it quick. Let's move it quick because I want to get everybody online. Attila, you've been on the longest. Get in here.
Uncle Zoe, how are you?
I'm alive and well. What do you think about tonight's topic? What are your thoughts?
Awesome. Well, I wanted to kind of share a more like positive anecdote, at least to what I've seen in terms of healing generational wounds. And so my dad's father left them when my dad was like 3. He went to the Air Force, right? This was the 1960s, and went on to have other children and all this stuff. And so basically, by the time my sister and I were born, my dad was, in his 30s, and he's like, well, I want my dad to be a part of their lives, even though he had experienced, a lot of pain and trauma, I think, from that as a child. And so it kind of taught me a very valuable lesson in terms of forgiving your parents and just kind of seeing my dad work through that. And he always made it a point to tell us that, I don't ever want you to think that I'm not here for you or that I don't want to know what's going on in your life. I mean, my dad literally tracks my location, okay? Like, my dad's very involved, even with my parents' divorce. So I say all that to say that, being a generational curse breaker is not easy. But I think seeing my parents, like, struggle through certain things that happened before them kind of gives me the courage to be like, okay, I can do that too, with whatever it is that's going on in my life. But it was really impactful for me to see that.
I love it. Attila, You know what you just did, right?
I brought Houston in the building.
Houston, Texas is in the building. If you want to bring your city in the building, you know the protocol. All you have to do is dial 1-800-920-1580. Let's keep them rolling. Truemonger, Dallas, Texas. Come on.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Something I don't think people talk about enough. In order, like some callers said earlier, in order to be able to, even start to deal with your generational curriculum, you got to be observant. You got to pay attention to your family.
Yeah.
How they act around each other, the things they do on a daily basis, how they respond to certain things. You got to start paying attention to that stuff. Yeah. And whether they're upfront and honest about it or whether they're trying to hide it.
Right.
Even if, a young age where you may not necessarily understand what's going on, but you can sense something ain't right, you got to start to process that and learn from how they handle things. Watch how they handle things. It might not necessarily be the right way to do it.
Right.
But it's how they did it. I think the thing for you for anyone is to learn from that. Because you're going to have to deal with generational trauma, anything that was passed down. And you're also going to have to deal with your own because you're going to be going through life experience in your own. So you're going to have to figure some things out. Yeah. And figure out the best ways for you to deal with certain situations. With all situations, really, because how they handle things might not necessarily be the way you need to handle it. That's why you're seeing it, so you can figure out a different way.
For real. For real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, past generations didn't want to deal with that trauma. They tried to put it behind them and act like a lot of that stuff didn't happen until it spills out in arguments or whatever the case may be.
Right.
That's also another reason you see it, because you got to be able to deal with it better, especially when you start having your own experiences with relationships and whatnot, because hiding is not going to do you any good.
No.
Trying to put it to the side, try to cover it up, or try to make it seem like it's not a big deal. The more you do that, the worse you're going to make things for your relationships.
100%.
So, in my opinion, it's better just to be honest about it. If you don't know how to deal with it, ask questions, seek help.
Right.
Put your pride to the side and get the help that you may need in order to save you some time and frustrated later on in life.
Yeah.
But people have to be willing to do that. They got to be willing to acknowledge it first off.
So guess what you just did, brother? You already know.
Detailing in the building.
Come on, Dallas, Texas is in the building. When I come forward, I'm going to Mississippi. I'm going to Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm going to South Central Los Angeles. We are all over the country. This is a national discussion. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is follow the protocol. 1-800-920-1580. We got a lot to talk about.
Looking for you. That's worth more than you could know long ago.
He's on fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Jury selection is now underway for the suspect accused of a deadly mass shooting in Norfolk, Virginia. Deontay Palmer allegedly shot 5 women in Young Terrace back in 2021, killing 3 of them. Palmer, who was black, is facing numerous charges, including second-degree murder. Prosecutors say Palmer first shot his girlfriend in the shoulder, then opened fire on the 4 women who came to help her, including her mom, who was among those killed. The D.C. government wants to give students at local HBCUs a path into the public service sector. The city will offer an apprenticeship program to graduates of Howard University and the University of the District of Columbia. 25 students will be picked from each university for a paid 1-year apprenticeship with the local government agency. The students will be eligible for full-time employment with the city after completing the program. Applications for the apprenticeships will be accepted in February. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Need an accident attorney by your side? All you got to do is call the accident guys.
Injured in a car accident or at work? Call the accident guys to speak with a real expert attorney for a free consultation.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcasts of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader when the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Did you know addiction to drugs like meth or cocaine is a disease and not a choice? But getting help is. If you have stimulant use disorder, you, your family, and friends may have a lot of questions, including where to start. Choose Change California can help. Make a change today and find a proven treatment option for you at choosechangeca.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chucha's opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chucha's Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank. Any member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit LAFLA.org. LAFLA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm calling you up, I'm calling you up. 'Cause I need a love doctor, and I need it right away. I'm calling you up, I'm calling you up. 'Cause I need to hear the doctor's voice to breeze
Yo, so I got this two-timing chick who got her revenge from when I was on my two-time tip. And even when I tried to correct it, she couldn't get past how she was disrespected. Neglected my effort, a pair with no trust. Dirty games and affairs that been tearing us up. If things ain't picture perfect, is it really worth it? I have an idea, but I need to know for certain.
I'm calling you up, I'm calling you up. 'Cause I need love doctor, and I need it right away. I'm calling you up, I'm calling you up. 'Cause I need to hear the doctor's voice to breathe.
Okay, Dr. Bruce Lipton, great to be with you.
Jeff, I am so honored to be with you because you're making a difference out there in the world, talking to people and trying to uplift them. And that's what everything's all about, because we need this evolutionary upheaval at this time. And so thank you for being that clarion that says there's a better way.
Oh man, that's very sweet. Yeah, a lot of my conversations these days have been hovering around this concept of the sixth great extinction, and maybe we'll talk about that. But we'll see what we can do to abate that process or be part of the evolution of what comes next. So
I'd rather be part of the evolution of what comes next than part of the evolution that's going down.
Yes. Well, so I've been saving up sort of a mini portfolio of topics to excavate with you over the years. And if anything, I'm worried that we won't get to as many of them. But well, maybe I'll just spend a moment setting this up and we can back into some of these topics that I'm excited to talk about. So to say that you've been a pioneer in the field of epigenetics is basically an understatement. And just for clarity for the audience, and we'll get into, some of the definitional work around epigenetics and behavioral epigenetics, but basically this notion that gene expression modifies in response to its environment. And there are myriad different environmental inputs that can influence the expression of a gene. For example, I recently interviewed this very fascinating doctor, Kara Fitzgerald, who's part of the emerging field of epinutrition, essentially studying how different foods influence the coding of proteins. But one primary arbiter of gene expression is belief, essentially that genes express based upon how humans consciously perceive the world. And you've obviously written brilliantly about how perception shapes biology, and in many cases trumps our conventional understanding of DNA. Okay, I got to stop the video. Can we normalize the statement, I was wronged? Can we make that a sin? Because if you hear what the man just said about epigenetics, right? Belief. Listen, yes, people will hurt you. Yes, people will, humans be humaning. People be peopling. But if you take it from the perspective of what is the value in this experience for me? How can this experience up-level me? Instead of, you wronged me, You owe me. Right? Why can't it be this needed to happen, right? And there's something valuable in this happening that's going to up-level me. We want to be up-leveled at no cost. Well, it costs the clam pain to create the pearl. Whole bunch of sand comes into the pearl. And it irritates, right? It irritates the clam, right? Whole bunch of sand comes into the clam and it irritates the clam. And then the clam creates a pearl. Any up-leveling in your life is going to cost something. We want to be up-leveled while we're in our soft life. We don't want to sign up for nothing that pushes us to the precipice. We want to be at ease. This is the time of ease. No, it's not. Relationships are a part of personal development. I know a lot of people don't want to hear it that way. All right, we got callers on the line. Nikki from the SIP. Oh, Lord, get in here and teach us tonight. Let me just sit back and listen. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Brother Zoe and the fam, I got something for you tonight.
Please, let me just sit back. Go ahead. You have the floor.
So I have a book for you all to go with the book that you are recommending. This book is called Deliverance Prayers. Okay, it is by Father Chad Ripper, Ripperger. In the back of this book, I'd love everybody to read the whole thing, but the part that's relative to your topic tonight, in the back, page 101, make a note. Appendix 1, list of sins, vices, or spirits. This book chronicles for us, when you're talking about generational curses, things that repeat, we keep seeing behaviors, habits, that is living within the spirits of us. It even chronicles and relates things like arthritis living in the body as unforgiveness. A form of spirit. Yeah, that's just one of them. That's why I want everybody to read.
Please keep going.
Okay. So when we look at the topic of generational curses, Attila was talking about if you are a person who is breaking a generational curse. In my opinion, there are some extra spirits that show up in a negative way if you are that person, because you are stopping the dis-ease. What is disease? It's dis-ease in the body, right? Okay. We are a spirit. We have a soul. We live in a physical body. So when we talk about our forefathers, parents, moms, taking us to a point in our lives, especially if we had a chance to know them, grandparents or great-grandparents. As we continue, they got us up to the point where, okay, this is what I had to give you. This is the best I can do. Hopefully they taught us how to recognize these spirit dis-eases in the body so that we can do what you were talking about, which is make the corrections as we go forward. We're missing the boat, back to last night's topic, because these dis-ease spirits are enveloped in aesthetically pleasing bodies.
Keep going, keep going.
That may or may not know that they have the spirit of this dis-ease. And what I mean by that is something can be attached to you and you not inherently be attached to it in your head. But in your spirit, you're attached to it because it's attached to you, having been passed down from the forefathers. When you understand and or can even open your mind to the concept of this is why relationships is hard, because we don't talk about the dis-ease in the body. So when the wrong person showed up at the right time, or I was at the right time, but it was the wrong person, no. All that was right on schedule. Wherever you were in your maturation in the spirit, the dis-ease shows up because now you're trying to progress, or as the young people say these days, level up. A million phone calls ago, I said when we go to school and we don't learn the lesson, we have to repeat the grade.
Oof.
So the same thing is happening to us in the spirit with the dis-ease in the body. We're not learning the lesson because we're not picking up the generational curse portion and recognizing it when it shows up again so that we can kill that spirit and it doesn't go any further. Then we level up. We don't see that spirit again. It's something else. It looks different because we leveled up.
It feels different.
That's right.
We perceive it differently. Keep
we
going.
are not supposed to be on milk our whole life. Mammals are the only animals in nature that go back to the breast after being weaned. We are supposed to, whatever deity you recognize, you are supposed to mature. That means meat. But when we don't have a good, proper foundation because we've been lied to, robbed, our history's been stolen, you didn't have a family who could teach you how to be in a secure attachment style like myself, okay?
Right.
Then it makes the struggle even that more detrimental, particularly in the times that we live in. You can't fight a spiritual battle in a physical plane. You have to fight a spiritual battle in a spiritual plane. But you can't do that if you don't know that's what you're supposed to, that's what you're fighting.
Right, spirit against spirit, not flesh
Right.
against spirit. Keep going. I'm with
Right.
you.
So when we get in our intimate relationships, like, wait a minute, you fighting me, but I am not your enemy. Wow. That thing that's causing the dis-ease on the inside of you may have come from the previous generations. You have a residue there. And it's showing up here with you and me because you hadn't dealt with it, because maybe you didn't know that's what it was. And you didn't have any tools to fight it. That's why I want people to go get that book, because it's going to blow your cap off when you really start to understand you.
One more time. What's the name of the book?
The name of the book is Deliverance Prayers.
Deliverance Prayers by?
Yes. It is by Chad Ripper, RIPPERGER, PhD.
All right. There you go.
It's like $7.
There you go. Nikki.
Peace be unto you.
What did you know the routine. What did you just do?
I brought the sip in the building.
She brought Mississippi in the building, and she wasn't playing no games. When we come forward, Charlotte, North Carolina, and South Central.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
Beloved Entertainment presents Sweet Spot Live with Angelique Francis, host of KBLA's Living in the Sweet Spot at the beautiful Miracle Theater, 226 South Market Street in Inglewood, Sunday, November 19th at 6 p.m. Join me, Tavis Smiley, and KBLA Talk 1580 for real short stories told live on stage by our own storytellers, straight from the neighborhood, celebrating our unique culture, our strengths, our courage, our faith, and, of course, our fire. Come walk with us through the neighborhoods, sit at our kitchen tables, even run with us down our dark alleys if you dare. But just know that in the sweet spot, there is love and laughter, joy and pain, secrets never told. Again, that's Sweet Spot Live with Angelique Francis Francis, Sunday, November 19th at the Miracle Theater, 226 South Market Street in Inglewood at 6 p.m. Tickets available at sweetspotlive.eventbrite.com. That's sweetspotlive.eventbrite.com. Sweet Spot Live, we've got a lot to talk about.
Ask any former youth in foster care what they missed most while growing up, and they will most likely answer, someone to show me unconditional love. Now, isn't that something we all wished we could experience? Here in Los Angeles, up to 40% of homeless youth on our streets identify as LGBTQ+. The most prevalent reason for homelessness among this population is the rejection they've experienced from their own families. The LA County Department of Children and Family Services and Raise a Child are searching for safe, nurturing, and affirming foster parents within our community willing to stand up and serve all children and youth in foster care, especially LGBTQ youth. Learn the many benefits to becoming a foster parent. Attend a free Raise a Child virtual or in-person informational event to learn more. RSVP now at raiseachild.org. That's raiseachild.org. And thank you.
Did you know there's a way to outsmart COVID if you get it? Now there are medicines that can treat COVID, whether or not you've been vaccinated, which is great news, especially if you're over 50. If taken in the first 5 days of having symptoms, COVID medicines can help stop the illness from getting serious. Call a healthcare provider or the statewide COVID hotline at 833-422-4255 to learn more about COVID medicines. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, could potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
That's really beautiful. I kind of dig you too. You know that. We're friends, and I'm in a situation. I'm in a relationship, and you know what that means.
And whatever I gotta do, I'll do it for you.
Sure put me in an awkward situation.
I guess I'll see you next lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason, live from KBLA Talk 1580. You already know what it is. I love pushing the envelope with these conversations. These are conversations that are necessary for us to grow up. We got a couple of callers. I want to get them in. Callers, please make it quick because we're up against the clock. I want to get you in, though. Who's been on the longest? JW South Central. Get in here.
Hey, my brother, I'm glad you came to me instead of the young ladies. I agree with all the other callers when they made the reference into a spiritual reference where it originates with the Spirit of God, because that's a spirit of knowledge and order and structure. And when it comes to the flesh, we're weak at the flesh because the flesh is can't control itself, but the spirit is willing. So therefore, outside influence in terms of society and racism, because that's where it originates from, that William syndrome back in the past, and we carry that through our genes, and whether the trigger mechanism is the one that carries that type of syndrome or reality. So I thought I'd make it real sweet and plain and clear.
Thank you, brother.
And simple.
I appreciate it. JW, guess what you just did?
Brought South Central in the house.
That's right. You brought South Central in the building. We appreciate the call. Jay from Charlotte, North Carolina. You're my final call. Brother, talk to me.
What's going on, Zoe? First and foremost, I'd like to start off by saying you got the most fire mindset when it comes to music. always fire. Every
Thank you,
single
brother.
thing I've been hearing for the past decade.
Thank you,
But
brother.
when we, yes, sir. When we come to the conversation about generational curses, I had I wouldn't say pleasure. I'd have the uncomfortability of seeing a generational curse go to the next level. A home girl of mine, I got cool with her, and then I met her cousin, and we got cool as well. Then come to find out that my homegirl's father deleted her cousin's mother in a heated argument, and where she bit him and was trying to attack him, and he pulled out a gun, and they got into a struggle with the gun, and the gun went off and killed her, and left my homegirl's cousin basically an orphan. So looking at that whole situation, I see, her father had passed away from cancer in the mouth. So it's like, it's weird how the universe works, how karma can work. You shot this woman because she bit her, and then you end up passing because of something that happened inside of your mouth.
Wow.
And seeing the struggles that the generation after went through, where a homegirl doesn't even feel like she can mourn her father's death in front of him, just for the simple fact that what happened, and he doesn't feel comfortable doing that mourning his mother because he's around his cousin whose father took her away from him. It's like, where do you even
begin?
Go?
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to death, that's something different. It's totally different from anything else. And it's just been like a journey seeing how they've grown older. They're in their late 40s now, and it still hasn't been something that's been resolved.
It hasn't
but
been
they
resolved.
Can still be
Yeah.
around each other.
Wow. Jay, hey, man, I'm sorry I got to cut you, but bro, man, call back tomorrow because I want to get more of this story. Please.
Yeah, I got you.
Lord have mercy. We started the conversation. I still got a whole bunch of things I wanted to say, but I can't say them now. But it's okay. I lit the fire. You guys got to keep it lit. I started the conversation. You finish it. You already know who's coming up next. My friend, your friend, Jill Monroe and her RSVP show. You know she's about to keep it hot. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason. I'm out until tomorrow. Deuces.
Soon as